Welcome to Tabo Eminent Channel. At the height of its power in the 2nd century AD, the Roman Empire was the largest the world had ever known. More than 55 million people lived within its borders, stretching from modern-day Britain, Spain and Germany to northern Africa, the Middle East and Asia Minor. The Roman Empire reached its greatest extent in AD 117 under Emperor Trajan, who ruled over a territory of nearly 2 million square miles. Even more remarkable than its sheer size, however, was that each far-flung province of the Roman Empire was connected by a vast network of roads. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel. Rome was the first example of a continental-scale, integrated empire, says Tom Broomans, an archaeology professor at Aarhus University in Denmark. Yes, places like ancient Britain and Egypt had roads before they were swallowed up by the empire, says Broomans, but the Romans were the first to really connect all these local road systems, so you get this massive connected terrestrial infrastructure system for the first time in human history. Even more Roman roads. Discovered Roman roads have fascinated archaeologists and historians for centuries, but most of the attention has gone to grand stone-paved roads like the Via Appia or Via Augusta, which functioned as the highways of the ancient world. But according to research published in November 2025 by Broomans and his colleagues in Spain, the full extent of the Roman road network went far beyond those major thoroughfares. By cross-referencing archaeological and historical records with topographic maps and satellite imagery, the team identified more than 60,000 new miles of Roman roads, most of them unpaved secondary roads. The findings raise estimates of the extent of the Roman road network to 185,896 miles across almost 1,544,409 square miles. The vast majority of roads in the Roman Empire were not those main paved, named roads, says Broomans, who believes that broadening the definition of Roman roads paints a fuller picture of daily life in the empire. Roman roads are where Romans walked, and we need to find the country lanes as well as the highways. Engineering marvels. The bigger Roman roads have received so much attention because they're among the engineering marvels of the ancient world. The Via Augusta, for example, was constructed by Rome's first emperor, Octavian, also known as Augustus, between 8 and 2 BC. The wide, paved highway ran more than 900 miles across the length of ancient Hispania, modern Spain, from the Atlantic port city of Cadiz to the Pyrenees Mountains, where it connected to Italy. The Via Augusta was a huge infrastructure project that required thousands of workers to level the ground, put in different layers of gravel and paving stones, and ensure that the pavement was curved so water drained to the sides, says Broomans. Roman engineers used surveying tools like the dioptra and the gramma to lay out orderly city grids and construct the long, mostly straight roads connecting imperial outposts. The Romans also installed milestones along major roads like the Via Augusta, each inscribed with the distance to the nearest city or way station. More than 8,000 Roman milestones have been found with Latin inscriptions. You see them absolutely everywhere, says Broomans. One of the ways that Broomans' team discovered new Roman roads was by mapping the geographic locations of known milestones and connecting the dots using satellite images and survey data. All roads led to Rome. As impressive as they were, the main Roman roads don't tell the full story of how people and ideas traveled across the world's largest empire. It's like trying to understand how people move around the US by just looking at interstate highways, says Broomans. There are tens of thousands of ancient places, villas, farms, towns, ports, where we know the Romans were. And I can tell you, all of them were connected by a road of some form or other. One example comes from ancient Egypt, which became part of the Roman Empire after Octavian's historic defeat of Mark Antony and Cleopatra in 30 BC. Egypt is mostly desert, so it didn't make sense for the Romans to haul tons of gravel and stone to construct paved roads over vast expanses of sand. Instead, the Romans took existing desert trade routes, some consisting of nothing more than wide camel paths, and incorporated them into their network of imperial roads. In a desert, a Roman road is a wide lane, perhaps with some milestones along the side, says Broomans. They also constructed way stations, Roman forts where travelers could replenish their supplies, exchange their camel, or take shelter from a sandstorm. Many roads to history. If a Roman road is any road used by Roman citizens, then that definition includes everything from a paved two-lane road passing through a major city to a dirt path winding through an olive grove. Brumans hopes other scholars will use the digital atlas of ancient Roman roads to explore how this unprecedented physical network changed history. The 2nd century AD was precisely the time when early Christianity spread throughout the Roman Empire. The new religion traveled with missionaries along this network of Roman roads. It was also when mass migrations of Germanic peoples entered the Western Roman Empire and ultimately contributed to its fall. These Roman roads, both paved and unpaved, gave structure to massive cultural shifts that affected Western history for the next 2,000 years, says Brumans. At the height of its power, the Roman Empire stretched from the misty hills of Britain to the sun-baked deserts of Egypt, and from the Atlantic coast of Spain to the fertile valleys of Mesopotamia. Holding such a vast realm together was no simple task, yet the Romans accomplished it through one of humanity's greatest infrastructural feats, their vast and enduring road network. To walk along one of these ancient routes today is to trace the arteries that once carried the lifeblood of an empire. The story began in the early days of the Republic, when Roman legions needed a reliable way to move swiftly through Italy's rugged landscape. The first great road, the Via Appia, was begun in 312 BCE by the censor Appius Claudius Caecus. It ran from Rome to Capua and later extended to Brundisium, modern Brindisi, linking the capital directly to the ports that faced Greece and the east. The Via Appia was called the Regina Viarum, the Queen of Roads, and it set the standard for the engineering marvels that followed. Today, fragments of those roads still survive, moss-covered stones stretching across fields, silent witnesses to centuries of change. Standing on the Via Appia, surrounded by cypress trees and the distant hum of Rome, one can almost hear the echo of sandals, hooves, and wheels, the heartbeat of an empire that once ruled the known world through the power of its roads. Over the centuries, the empire itself began to fade, but the roads did not. They endured invasions, neglect, and time. Barbarian kings and medieval travelers alike used them, often unaware that the very stones beneath their feet had been laid by Roman hands 1,000 years before. Many European cities, Paris, London, Cologne, Florence, still follow the same alignments first carved out by Roman engineers.